Hey guys, okay, this video is gonna be totally different today because my whole family is crazy sick. Like, I am the only one who is not sick, and I don't know what's going on, but I am thankful for that. My kids are actually the sickest I've ever seen them, and it's been really rough. I know Rockwell for sure has strep throat, and I know that Devin has something crazy. I actually think it might be influenza. And I am crossing my fingers that it's not, because Rockwell's starting to get some of those symptoms too. And my husband is actually sick. He came home from work yesterday. First time he's ever done that in the last 10 years we've been married. So I have no idea what's going on in my household. But it definitely put a damper on me doing the videos for you this week, because they just wanted to love on me and hold me and be with me, which I totally understand, because when you feel sick, you just want your mom, right? So today's video, I thought it'd be a good idea to actually share with you guys some of our tips for getting over colds and flus quickly. Some of these things are things my mom taught me. Some of these things are things I figured out, but I usually get over sicknesses and colds pretty dang fast. And obviously I'm sure you guys have a bunch of really great ideas too. So I thought I'd share those today since it's pretty fitting considering the situation my family's in. Anyway, so I hope these tips help you. Let's get started. All right, so a lot of these tips are gonna help kids as well, and so I wanted to share these. The first tip I have is to use a saline nasal mist or spray for your kids. This is really important because when kids are little, they can't get out all the junk or congestion that they have. It's hard for them to blow their nose, things like that. So you put this in their nose, a few drops, let it sit for a little bit to loosen everything up, and then you get to squeegee it out with one of these. The kids do not like it. It doesn't hurt, but it does feel uncomfortable. But this works so good, especially because you don't want all that congestion stuck in there, because when they start hacking it up, they start swallowing it, which makes their tummy hurt. A lot of things that happens with that. So this is like a go-to lifesaver for me, especially if you have kids young enough where they can't take any sort of decongestant or anything like that. This totally helps, and it's really cheap to use. The other thing I recently learned, actually, and maybe you guys already know this, but anytime you have a fever for kids, it's actually better to give them an ibuprofen over an acetaminophen or a Tylenol. Did you guys know that? That fevers react a lot better to ibuprofen. So if your kid's fever isn't coming down, make sure that you're giving them ibuprofen and not Tylenol or acetaminophen. We actually used this last weekend because Rockwell's temperature was 103.4, and I was freaking out because that's the highest it's ever been. And I was giving him acetaminophen and I didn't even think about it. So I had to do some research because I was like, this normally works, but then I realized, no, I usually give him ibuprofen, and then once I did some research, realized that ibuprofen is way better for fevers. So if you guys have that issue with your kids as well, make sure you're giving them ibuprofen. All right, this is one of my personal tricks, guys. Liquid vitamin D. I take vitamin D because I'm low on vitamin D, but vitamin D is an immune booster. So I use the liquid form. I take it every day. I actually think that's why I have not gotten what my whole family has gotten, and they're deathly sick right now. So I really am attributing it to vitamin D because it's the only thing I've been doing different. I'm usually the first one to get sick. This is great too because it's safe enough to give to your kids, and it's tasteless. So they're totally okay using it. And actually they asked me, Mom, can you give me the medicine that doesn't taste like anything? And I'm like, sure. Give them a drop of this and they're good to go. Along with that, if you are starting to get sick, start taking this, a few drops of this every day as soon as you start feeling like you're getting sick, and you will get better so much faster. One of the other things I take right away as soon as I start to feel like I'm getting sick is EmergenC. Guys, I love this stuff. I down it. I down a ton of it as soon as I find out that I'm getting sick or feel like I'm getting sick. You guys know what it feels like when you start to get sick. You can feel it coming, at least I can. So I start downing this, and I give this to my kids too. They have Kids EmergenC, but the dosages are the same. And I believe Kids EmergenC is more expensive. So just check the prices, because you can just change the doses and make sure that you're giving them the right amount so you're not giving too much vitamin C. But in my opinion, like, you want to get a lot of vitamin C to help your body hopefully fight off whatever infection your body's got going on. The other tip I want to give to you guys is about probiotics. Even if you're not taking antibiotics, you need to be giving your body healthy bacteria to fight off all the infections and things that are going on in your gut or other places like that. And especially if you are taking antibiotics, which my kids are on right now, I'm making sure that because we're killing off all the good and bacteria in their body, that we're giving them the positive and the good stuff too. So when your kids are on antibiotics, or if you're on antibiotics, make sure you're taking a probiotic too. I really like the Culturelle. They have kids versions of this as well, but it's exactly the same product. The other tips are pretty basic, like tons of liquids, lots of rest. My kids have taken multiple naps. You usually want to take multiple naps. I like to tell my kids that when they fall asleep, they're able to make more good guy soldiers to go in and kill all the bad guy germs that are in their body. That helps them kind of understand why they need to take a nap or why they need to go to bed or sleep more. Another thing I do is I actually tell my kids that they have to drink, because when you have a cold or if you have the flu, you do not want to eat, you don't want to drink. And if you don't drink, what happens to kids? They usually get super dehydrated, and then you end up in the emergency room with an IV, and it's not fun. So my kids said, we don't want to drink anything. And I said, okay, that's fine. You don't have to drink anything, but if you don't drink anything, then your body will be dehydrated, and then we're gonna have to go to the hospital and they're gonna have to put a needle in your arm. That got them to drink. So use what you have to use in order to get your kids to do what they need to do in order to be healthy or get them to get better. I try to make them as simple as possible for kids who don't understand how things work. I really like the good guys and the bad guy bacteria inside your body. That seems to help my kids understand what's going on. All right, another thing I want to share with you guys is Zarbee's cough syrup, and this is again for kids. This is so amazing because it's all natural and it's made with honey, so your kid does have to be at least 12 months old because there's honey in it. This works so good and soothes their throat. My kids will actually drink it. They have a nighttime version which helps them sleep at night, and this is for cough. Or for sore throats. It just soothes the throat and works so well. You can find this at the drugstore. I believe they have it at Target and Walmart now too. So go grab this, because if your kids have coughs or sore throats, this will totally help and help them sleep at night. The other thing that's kind of like a duh, yeah, I should totally do that, but sometimes you don't think about it because you kind of get overwhelmed in the brain, at least I do as a mom, is a humidifier. So I have a humidifier for our room, I have a humidifier for Rockwell, and a humidifier for Devin. That way, if we're all sick at the same time, we have our own humidifiers, and helping the air not be so dry, especially if you live in a dry state like Utah, really helps you get better. Rockwell actually got a really bad bloody nose yesterday because he was already dried out from not drinking enough fluids because he's sick, and because the air is so dry, he just had crazy bloody nose. So again, I had to tell them a story about how, well, you need to make sure you drink water and you make sure that your body has enough fluids or you're gonna get a bloody nose again. So that helped too. Okay guys, I would love it if you guys would share some of your favorite tips for getting better, or how to even prevent colds or flus from even happening or from even getting sick. Will you guys comment below and leave them? And if you have any tips for influenza or anything like that, or flu, will you guys leave those below too? Because I think I'm gonna actually need those, because right now my kids are not getting better, and usually they do. So I think this is kind of gonna be a doozy this weekend, so I could really use as much help as possible. Anyway, I'll give more updates about my kids and our family, and hopefully I won't get sick over on Snapchat and Instagram stories, so make sure you're following me there. And I will talk to you guys next week, and hopefully my kids will be better so we can get back on schedule with some more money saving videos on Tuesday. Okay, thanks guys, bye.